Rabban, you like that video, huh?
That was tremendous, yeah.
It's really good. It's really good. Yeah. See if it works.
It's the right guy for the right job. He gave him the right script.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get him to learn. Be a sus with him actually.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're up to Chav Ches Amud Beis. We're actually behind a little bit, but we'll catch up with Monday. Tomorrow's daf being extremely short. Okay, so we have a major Gemara about halal over here. Yeah, I think we're listening nami. Yeah, the listening nami about 10, 12 lines down on Chav Ches Amud Beis.
I feel like the bridge is coming out a little bit in this picture.
Yeah, we have it.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so the list. So we had said that on the Echad B'Teves there was no maimed. Again, no maimed meaning no Nalat Naftali law. No means the no tefillas, no extra tefillas, because it was Rosh Chodesh, it was Chanukah, right? So there was a lot going on, so there was no maimed. So what about Echad B'Nisan? We said is one of the maimadas by maimed, right? B'Pnei sheyesh by halal the carbon musaf the carbon eitzim. There should be no maimed because it has on it halal, carbon musaf, and carbon eitzim, right? So it shouldn't have it. So this is what Rabba is saying. Halal on Rosh Chodesh is not a deraisa, right? Which is a major thing because people think that Rosh Chodesh halal is a big zach. It's not a deraisa. We're gonna see later. Now it's not even. Hold on, sorry, just shifting place. That it might not even be a derabana. It might not even be a derabana. But it's certainly not a deraisa. Yeah, let's see. So again, Amar Rabba said, meaning the teretz is that it's not a deraisa. So this is not a deraisa. So therefore, it's not important enough that it would be mevatel the mamadas. What about Chanukah? So Chanukah halal, maybe it's not a deraisa. How could halal and Chanukah be a deraisa? If Chanukah, the whole Chanukah is a derabana, right? So the answer is that when the chachamim were misakin halal to say praise to Hashem because of a nes, then memela that's what halal was meant for. Halal and Rosh Chodesh is not for any sort of nes or anything like that. So therefore, the halal on Chanukah is much more important. I davened by the Sfardim last Sunday, Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah. I thought, finally I'm gonna, because the Sfardim don't say a bracha. As far as I know, I don't know what they're knowing now, but official Sfardi policy should be no bracha for halal on Rosh Chodesh, because of what we're saying. So I thought, okay, I'm going to finally daven a halal without a bracha, and then they make a bracha, and then I chapped. It was Chanukah. I lost that, so I lost that. I got some duchening, but I didn't get the halal without the bracha. There's a bonus with halal without a bracha. That means you could talk during halal.
Yaakov, that's the joke. Your mamish fell into the joke.
What's the joke?
The American, he came here after Sukkot to the Mia, and he calls his father. He never went to davening, he was just playing around. Then Chanukah, he runs out of money. He calls his Tati. He says, Tati, you wouldn't believe it. They duchen on Chanukah in Eretz Yisrael.
Here you go. Very good.
Right, wait, what you miss out? You said you didn't finish. You said you missed out on what? With another bracha.
I missed out halal. No. I missed out halal without a bracha by the Sfardim. Because it was Chanukah.
No, I know. But what do you gain by not having a bracha?
You gain because you could talk during halal. Since there's no bracha, you can talk during halal. Naftali, come on, man. This is important stuff.
Yeah. No, I wish I was on that level.
The only reason why you can't talk during halal because you make a bracha before and after. If you don't make a bracha, you can have a whole schmooze during halal.
Right.
Yaakov, maybe you should tell Naftali he's not allowed to talk during halal. Start it off that way.
They don't make the bracha.
And the bracha's in the beginning of the day and ends in the end of the day.
Yeah.
They don't make the bracha achrona after.
I don't know if they make even if they do make the bracha after, it's they still allowed to talk because it's only the bracha before and after that would cause you problems. But I don't think they make the bracha after? Could be they do. I don't know. That's probably totally in different minhagim. Whatever it is, so that's what the Gemara is saying here. Some of the Zaysim as Halayla, Halila is really the way you pronounce it. The Bereish Yachal Lav Daraisa. 18 days during the year, Yachid Gomer Ben Halal. Yachid finishes Halal. Finishes Halal means that we say the whole Halal, not half Halal. Ve'elohein Shmoni Me'achag, Shmoni Simei Chanukah, right? 8 days Sukkot, 8 days Chanukah, right? Yom Tov Harishon Shel Pesach, first day Pesach, right? And we know that the rest of Pesach we only say half Halal. Yom Tov Harishon Shel Atzeres, and the first day Shavuos V'Goyla, Esem Ve'echel Yom, and in Galus it's 21 days. Now, why the Gemara has to go through all the days again, I don't know. She just said this fake of the Yomas, but it doesn't say that. It says Ve'elohein Tisha Yimei Chag, 9 days of Sukkot instead of 8. Shemoni Yimei Chanukah. How come there's no 9 days Chanukah fake of the Yoma? Different kasha. Right, Shnei Yomim Harishonim Shel Pesach, 2 days, the 2 days Pesach, Beis Yom Tov Shel Atzeres, and 2 days Shavuos. So those it's either 18 or 21. So whatever it is, what happened to Rosh Chodesh? Why is Rosh Chodesh not on this list? Right, so because you're not going with the halal, and therefore it's a minig ba'alma. Fine. Rav Ikul Bavel, Rav traveled to Bavel, Chazinu to Gekaru Halila, Bereish Yachal, and they were reading halal on Rosh Chodesh. He thought he's going to stop them, right? So Kivan the Chazad, the Dalgi Deluge, since he saw them skipping parts of halal, which is what we do, Amar Shmam, they're just doing it because of minig. So therefore, since they're just doing it for minig, so therefore that's why we skip half of the halal, right? And that's why we skip, just to show that it's a minig. Which, by the way, the ones that we skip, if anybody that says Tillim on a regular basis, we say the first half of two prakim. That's what we do. We say we're not missing out on any prakim of halal, right? A hafti, and what's the other one? Lolanu, right? And a hafti. Those two are the last. Those are the second half of prakim. So we're actually saying that parak, we're just stopping it a little early out to make it recognizable. Now we're not saying the whole lot. This is the reason, though, the halacha l'maisa from this is that the bottom line is making a bracha on halal is a big suffix brachas. L'maisa, it's a suffix brachas, right? And with a tzibur, it's much more mekel. But lichatchila, if somebody comes to shul late and they're saying halal, he should use. That's why we skip to halal, not because there's a zach to say halal with a tzibur. It's the bracha of halal. With the tzibur, with the bracha is much less of an issue. So therefore, we're supposed to skip to halal to say with the tzibur, so you don't know. But saying halal with the bracha alone in a house is really not pashut. For women, for sure, it's not pashut. I mean, we do it. Lamaisa, we do it, but it's not pashut, which is why you're supposed to skip to halal, even if you're in the middle of psukkah de zimra, and you get there and they're in the middle of halal, you're supposed to. On a day, how does it go? When you say whole halal, then, no, when you say half, I don't know, how's it go now? Oh, I don't remember. There's enough community between when they're saying the whole halal and the half halal. I think when it's half halal, you should skip. When it's the whole halal, you don't have to, because in a day that's saying no whole halal, then when they're saying a whole halal, then there's no reason to skip, because you could say it on your own. There's no suffix brachas, Shiloh.
What about saying it like at night on Pesach or something like that?
So Pesach, what do you mean? We don't say the bracha. We say the last bracha on Pesach. First bracha we don't say, right? Pesach we don't say the bracha on the first, right?
Right.
Before.
Right.
Why not? I don't remember.
But you're supposed to say it together also on Pesach. I remember you saying you're supposed to do the haidus.
So the haidus you're supposed to do like
the
big and bad, but that's a different Indian. Yeah. Okay, so let's see weiter. Hana yachid lo yaschil, right? A yachid. Oh, this is I jumped the gun before. Okay, I should have said it after this. Yeah, a yachid doesn't daven halal. Yeah, because you don't have the minig. The imhisvil goyim, but if he does, then he should finish. He should finish the halal. Yeah. So that's where you get into the whole shiloh, whether a yochid should be saying halal or not with a bracha, right? Without a bracha, no big deal. It's just a hill. Okay, fine. So hey dvarim. Then the Gemara continues. Hey dvarim. So I'm sorry. There's a major toises here. So which gets into the bracha, which the toises Amar Shema Mina is toises goes through. Do you make a bracha on a minik? Right? Should a bracha be made on a minik? Right? And from here it sounds like you don't make a bracha on a minik. Yeah? And that's so the question is if you have what else would it be negeya? Aravas, right? To make a bracha on aravas, which is a minik, to take extra aravas, on Hoshana Rabbah, which we don't do.
Yeah, but there's no bracha on the arava. Is there a bracha on the?
Well, the question is why not? If you hold it, it's a mitzvah, right? So Tosfos is saying from here, it's mashma that there would be no bracha on minik, right? That's what the Gemara is saying. A yachid shouldn't say halal with the bracha on his own. If he did it, then fine. Anyway, so that's the Tosfos, right? I don't know what else. What else is it negate to anything else that we do a minik that we don't make a bracha? I don't offhand I don't remember any other minhag other than arava. Okay, fine. Yeah. So hey dvarim iruas, I was saying we're on 2 dots now, a little more than halfway down. Fav ches amud beis. Hey dvarim iruas avesena b'shiva asa b'tamas. So 5 things happened on Shiva asa b'tamas. And I'm going to go through how we know this. So nishtabra luchas minolan. How do we know the luchos were broken on Shiva asa b'tamas? So we do a little bit of history here. So the Tanya b'shisha l'chaydish on the 6th of the month, meaning Shavuos, nitnu aseres adibros liYisrael. The aseres adibros are given to Yisrael. Rabbi Yossi Amir b'shiva by. Rabbi Yossi says on the 7th, right? Because that's the age-old Machlokes, whether Shavuos started on the 6th of Sivan or on the 7th. Mandam b'shisha nitnu b'shiva ala Moshe. The one who says that the Torah was given on the 6th day, so it was given on the 6th, and then the 6th day Moshe went up to Shemayim to get the Torah. Mandam b'shiva nitnu b'shiva ala Moshe. I'm sorry, Moshe went up. The first sheet that holds it was given on the 6th. Then Moshe, the Torah was given on the 6th day, and Moshe went up on the 7th day. And the one that says on the 7th day, b'shiva nitnu b'shiva ala Moshe, he got the Torah and he went up on the same day. And he called out to Moshe on the 7th day. Moshe came into the clouds, he went up to the mountain. He was there for 40 days and 40 nights. So that's you have 24 days of Sivan, right? Then Shisar to Tammuz, that's 16 of Tammuz. 16 plus 24 makes 40, right? Malalu Arbon. So then when is the 40 days up? B'Shivsa b'Tammuz on the 16th. I'm sorry, on the 17th of Tammuz. Nachis asa b'Tavrinu l'luchas. He went down and then he broke the luchas. When he came close to the camp, right? So he came down on the 17th and he saw them, worshiping the egel, right, the golden calf, and then he said he broke the luchas, right? So that's how you know that on the 17th day of Tammuz the luchas are broken. Fine. Batal atamid, the carbon tamid was batal too. So how do we know that? So that's Gemara. That's like Rashi says, Gemara means kach kibalnu me'aveseinu. That's just the Kabbalah from our forefathers. That's when they stopped bringing the carbon tamid, which was a bad thing, obviously, because that was the main karbonis in the beis hamikdash was the carbon tamid. Yeah, fine. Hufka Yud Zayin Hava. Was the city broken into? Was Yerushalayim, the walls of Yerushalayim knocked down on the 17th of Tammuz? It was in the 4th month. Now Tammuz is the 4th month, right? Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, right? On the 9th day of the month, and there was a lot of famine. There was a lot of famine. And then it says, and they broke into the city. So Marava, so it was the 9th, not the 17th. Here we're talking about the first beis hamikdash that was on the 9th, and the second beis hamikdash is the 17th. The first beis hamikdash they broke into the city on the 9th day of Tisha Bav on the 9th of Tammuz. And on the second they broke in on the second beis hamikdash they broke in on the 17th. Okay, then Saraf Apaytimus as a Torah. So Apaytimus broke, they burned the Torah. So that's also Gemara. That was a tradition that it comes from the what do you call it? It comes from that's what was handed down to us. Next is Hemet Selam Behechel Minol. And how do you know that they put a getchka, an idol, in the Hechel? Tirsiv Me'es Husar HaTamid Velase Shikutz Shaimim. And from the time the Tamid was taken away, and then they put a shikutz in the shikutz shaimim. They put shaimim means it was mute, meaning so that's an idol. So they put a shikutz shaimim into the beis hamikdash. Yeah, fine. So v'chadhu, and it's v'chadhu, and was it only one? Was it only one thing? V'ksiv al knaf shkutzim shkaitzim b'shaimim, but shkaitzim is plural. Right, so it's at least two. They put at least two idols. So Marava, Trehava, there were two. V'nofel chad al chavre, and one fell on the other. V'tavri le'liyode, and it broke its hand. V'shtakach, right, and then it's to have ksiv. Rashi says what it means is that on the hand of the idol that was broken, it was written on the hand, onto Amud Aleph now, onto Chavtes Amud Aleph, Ant Savis l'charube beisa. You want to break down the house, and I'm going to take from payment from you. I'm going to break the hand. Yeah, the Tisha Bav of Nigzar. That's it. All right. So that's how we know that there were multiple idols. There were two at least. The Tisha Bav Nigzar al V'sina Shalei Yikantu La'aretz. On Tisha Bav, it was a gzeira that they shouldn't go into Eretz Yisrael, meaning from the days of the miraglim. Any of the Yidden that were around, but the miraglim never made it into Eretz Yisrael. So that happened on Tisha Bav. So there's a famous Gemara. And how do we know this? So it was in the first month, in the second year, right, after coming out of Mitzrayim, that they made the Mishkan. The first year out of Mitzrayim, they made the Mishkan. Shniya hikam Moshe Mishkan. He what do you call it?
He set it up.
What? He set it up and saying what exactly happened in the first year.
They were building it.
They were building it.
I'm saying, yeah, right, but I'm saying it's meaning they built it in the first year, but what's the Hakama Samishka means when they actually started using it, l'chara, right?
Right, that was the Nissan of the second year.
That's the second year of Nissan, but it was really, I'm saying it throws you off a little bit. Because, I mean, he made it in the first year and then he was hikam it, which, yeah, I'm saying.
Right, he set it up, I think, 7 times before, and then Rosh Chodesh came.
Right. So whatever it is, but it started using the second year. What are you saying, Reb Shai?
So Moshe Rabbeinu set it up many times before they started with the Nisim. So when the Nisim came, that's when that's when it
really started. That was in the second year in Nisan.
Right.
Right. Uksiv, b'shana hashniya, hashenis, b'chodesh hasheni, b'esrim b'chodesh, na'ale ha'anan me'al mishkan ha'edus. That's when the anan, the cloud went up, which shows that it should start moving. The Mishkan should start moving, Klai should start moving. Right, so they went for 3 days. And that day, that's when they went away from Hashem. They turned away from Hashem. Right? Meaning that they were looking to get out of there from Har Sinai. And there was the Asafsuf, right? Meaning that was the gathering of all the other nations that decided to hang out with the Yidden when they saw good things happen to them, right? But they all got. That's when they all decided that they don't like the month. Uksiv ad chaydesh yomim until a month, right? So they were going to get meat for a month until they got all so fed up with it. Tavalu esim v'tartin b'sivan. That, so now what does that come out to? That comes out to the 22nd day of Sivan. Then Miriam was locked up because of the Lashon Hara. So she had the tzara. So she was locked up for 7 days, which means Klal Yisrael didn't move. Now we're up to the 29th day of Sivan. And it says, send out the men to the miraglim. The Brisa says they went out on the 29th. They came back at the end of 40 days. So how does that get you? That gets you to what?
9th of Av.
That gets you, no, so it really only gets you to the 8th. Because it really is going to depend on whether Tammuz had 30 days in it or not. Now, Tammuz is never 30 days. So according to the way we calculate it, it would be on the 8th. Right? So that's what we're going to ask. Hani abarim yoim nechi chad hava.
So they complained that night when they came back. That would have been the 9th then. They came back on the 8th and they complained the night of the 8th.
Going into the 9th.
Right.
Right? No, so 1 second. How does it go?
So you say they came back on the 8th?
No, they said they came back on the 8th. So the Gemara is asking if it came back on the 8th, right? So that's only 39 days, not 40. Meaning, if they came back on the 8th, meaning they cried on the 9th, like you said, Reb Shaya.
Yeah.
So if they cried on the 9th, that means they came back on the 8th. That's only 39 days.
Or maybe it was Bobayom.
Or maybe they cried that day, right? So the Gemara doesn't seem to think that they cried that day. So that's what, let's see. So the Gemara answers, I'm going to buy a Thomas, the Ishata, Maluye Malyu was a full month. It was actually 30 days. So therefore, they came back on the 8th, right? And then they cried on the 9th.
Which was that night.
Let's say, they call it a time for me to break my young people, right? So therefore, let's say one more pasuk. And they lifted up, right? And they cried that night. See, the pasuk says that night. That night meaning the night after the return. So they came back on the 8th, and everybody cried that night. So it was the 9th that they cried. So Amar Rab Yochanan, Erev Tisha Bav. It was Erev Tisha Bav. And Amar Lema Kadosh Baruch Hu, Atem Bechisim Bechiyas Shochinam. You're crying for no reason. So therefore, once you made it a night of crying, then I'm going to make it for generations and generations. It's always going to be crying, which is why then the beis of hamikdash were destroyed on the 9th, which again plays into what we had seen. I don't know, it was a Friday, yesterday's daf or Thursday's daf, that there are certain days that just become bad luck days. Right? It's just a bad luck day. And therefore, that's that. I don't know if this is where it comes from or this is just a manifestation of it. But the bottom line is that there's certain days that are just bad luck days.
Well, we say that by Av, Misha Niknas Av, so it must be Av as usual. Bad things happen during it.
Yeah, and that's also where it comes from. The minig to fast on a yard site is because a yard site is considered a bad luck day for the Avelim. Since a bad luck day, that's one of the reasons. It's a bad luck day. So therefore, you fast on a yard site because you don't want chas v'shalom anything bad to happen. Really, the year of Avelus, is also considered a bad luck. It's a bad luck year. So you're supposed to be careful. That's
but some people.
But you showed me if you have a
as
boy born in the family, that changes in that year, right?
That's what it says. That's what Shulchan Aruch says.
Right.
Yeah. What are you saying, Doctor? Dr. Carrots, you want to say something?
I thought that some people have like a Hilula and they celebrate the yard site.
That's already for rebels and stuff. I don't know if that's for the common. That's not for the common folk.
Rashbi, Lag Bomer.
That's because Tzadikim Nikroim Chayim.
That's this week's parsha. This week's parsha. That's what, yeah. Tzadikim is a different story. It's a whole different story. Tzadikim. We're talking about for the common folk.
Is there a makom to say midah tova meruba on this, since it seems to be a midah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu?
And midah tova that what?
Make a simcha shel chinam, v'ani kaveh lachem simcha l'dayros.
You mean if there's a day?
Yeah, let's make a day, simcha.
You're talking about stam if you have a day of simcha, you should make a simcha on a yartzah.
No, nothing to do with the yartzeh. Stam. If this is the midah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, atem b'chisam b'chiyah shel chinam, then make a simcha shel chinam, v'ani kaveh simcha l'dayros.
But well, eventually it will be a simcha, right?
On Tisha Bav, you're saying on fast days?
No, general. Tomorrow, let's make a simcha.
So make a simcha. What's stopping you from making a simcha?
All right, I'm not coming. I'm not in Cleveland.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Okay, but I don't know. Listen, isn't Tisha Bav eventually going to become a simcha?
Yes.
Yeah, that's because everything, Kol Ma'adu Avad Rachman Al Tav. So the Avelus becomes the simcha.
Right, I hear that. Okay, let's see. Okay, so that's eventually what it means. That's what you're saying. Okay, anyway, so second wide line down. So Charav Habayis Barishan. And now, how do we know that the beis hamikdash was destroyed in the first? How do we know when it was destroyed? That it was destroyed in Tisha Bav. The Ksiva v'Chodesh Chamishi. B'Shiva l'Chodesh Hishnas Shah Esrei Shana l'Melech Nebuchadnezzar Melech Bavel. Right, on the 5th month, which is Av, on the 7th day, which was the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, right? Then Nuvuzradan Rav Tabachim, he was the greatest of the Tabachim. Literally means a shaykhet, but it means a shaykhet of humans, right? The slaughter of humans. Avad Melech Bavel Yerushalayim. Execution. It's executed. There you go. Very good. Thank you. So Avad Melech Bavel. Evid Melech Bavel, he was the Evid Melech Yerushalayim, Yisraf Beis Hashem, and he came to Yerushalayim and he burned the Beis Hashem. Uksiv, and then it says, Chamishi in the 5th month, Bezel Chodesh Ishnas Chais, Rishon LeMelech Nebuchadnezzar, Melech Bavel Banu was Radon, Rav Tabachim, Melech Bavel Yerushalayim, right? And then it continues the pasuk, and then he burnt the Beis Hamikdash, etc., etc. Yeah, but Tanya, you can't say that it was on the 7th. Right? It was already on the 10th. Meaning, the first pasuk says the 7th day he came. The second pasuk says he came on the 10th. So which one is it? So it already says the 10th. So it's a steer in the psukim. Did Nivuzradan come on the 7th, or did he come on the 10th? HaKetzad. So what's pshat? On the 7th day, they came into the Heichal v'achlu, and they ate the kilkuluvay, and they messed it up. Shvi shmini v'chi, the kilkuluvay shvi v'shmini, and they broke it. Now the ichlu, it doesn't mean ate. I guess it means they ate. So what does that mean? They ate. They ate treif there. What?
They ate karbanos.
They ate the karbanos. They were makar of the karbanos and they ate them, or they ate them instead of the kohanim. I don't know exactly.
Instead of the kohanim.
Okay, maybe. Okay, so the kilkulu b'shvi shmini, but she samal chashecha, and on the 9th, samal chashecha tzisu bayasar. They lit it with fire. V'haya doilik v'haylach kolay and kulay, and then it burned the whole day. Shenemar oylanu kifana hayayim ki natu tzlali erev. Right. Woe was to us that the day turned away, meaning at the end of the day, when the evening the shade, the shadows of the evening came. Meaning, so really the beis hamikdash was burned on the 10th, the majority of it. So that's what Rabbi Yochanan said. Adar, if I would have been in that generation, like I would have made Tisha Bav on the 10th day, which is why we keep some halachas till Yud, till Chatzos on Yud. Because that's when the majority of the Heichal was burned. So okay, so how come Taka we didn't do it on the 10th? Rabbanon aschalta the peranusa adi, for the beginning of the peranus is better. Right, so that's why they did that. Fine, it was shniya minalan, and how do we know the second beis hamikdash was destroyed on Tisha Bav? The Tanya magagal and schus liyam zakai b'chayv liyam chayev. Also, right here the Gemara says it again that things that happen when good things are going, it happens on good days, and when bad things happen, they happen on bad days. Amru shechara beis hamikdash b'rishayna, when the beis hamikdash was destroyed in the first beis hamikdash, Isayim erev Tisha Bav. It was erev Tisha Bav. Umaytzi Shabbos Hayim was Umaytzi Shabbos. Umaytzi Shviyas Haysa, and it was the year after Shemitah, which becomes a whole issue of calculating the Shemitahs nowadays. But that's a Gemara by Dezara. Bez Hashem, we'll get to that in a while. Umishmarta Shel Yehayrayov Haysa. It was the Mishmar of Yehoyariv, right? And the Levim were middle of saying Shira Aimdim al Duchanim, and they were standing on the Duchan, right, on the band.
How is it possible that it was Mishmar to Yehoyariv?
Why not?
He was either the Rosh or the second. The first beis hamikdash, he was the Rosh Mishmar. When was it built? It was built in Av.
What do you mean?
It was the first Mishmar. They were the first Mishmar. So I would assume that starts when the beis hamikdash is built. That would become his week.
No, but this is the first beis hamikdash.
This is the first or the second?
First. It says Yeshachar beis hamikdash barishayna.
That makes it worse. So he should have been. When was the beis hamikdash built? On Tisha Bav?
No, I don't think so.
I don't either. So he had the first week and the 5th and the 27th week.
Yeah, so I don't know. Anyways, okay, but it's I mean, it's I don't know, whenever I guess maybe you could figure it out based on this, maybe, but you don't know. It's because it was 2 rounds a year.
That's true. The first week and the 27th week.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, I don't know. They were standing on their bands, and what were they singing? And he Vayoshav Alehem, and he sat on them literally as Ainam, their bad things, and with their bad things, you're going to cut them off. Right? Now this is really the Yom of Revi. This is the Yom of Revi. But this was on a Sunday, we said, because it was Motzei Shabbos, which really is Sunday. And they were not able to say that Hashem is going to cut them off, that the Nachrim came and conquered them. The same thing happened in the second beis hamikdash. Right? Now, I don't know if it was the same Mishmar or not. Yeah, right. He wasn't a Mishmar at all in the second beis hamikdash. It was only 4. He wasn't one of the 4. Right?
Didn't we say he came later? They pushed him off to the 6th week.
I don't remember.
The 6th week of Yad, whatever, how you pronounce that? Yadeh. So Yadeh lost one.
I don't remember.
The 6th.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, so Nilka the Beitar. So when Beitar was destroyed, Gemara, that's also a handed down for Dairis. Nechrusha Ha'ir, the city was plowed. Tanya, we learned in a Braisa, Kishacharov, Turnisraf is a Rosh as a Heichel. When Turnisraf is a Rosh burned the Heichel, Nigzur Gzeira, Rabbi Gamliel Ariga. There was a Gzeira that Rabbi Gamliel should get killed. Ba'adin Echon. So a master came, meaning a Roman, Ba'amad beis hamikdash, and he went to the beis hamikdash. Amar, like he said in code. He didn't want to say beferish, but he went. He was helping Rabbi Gamliel. Ba'amar bala chaytim misbakish, bala chaytim misbakish. The one with the nose, they want the one with the nose, they want with the one with the nose. So Rashi has a couple of pshatim. He says either it's somebody who's very tall and has a stature about him, and some say it's a gadol Adar, and misbakish means that he should be killed. And he was saying it with a remez, Rashi says, so people won't know that this is the king, that this is the guy that went in to rat him out. which is interesting because he killed himself anyways in 2 lines. So I'm not exactly sure what he was scared of. If he knew it, I guess maybe not. Maybe R Gamliel will tell him not to kill himself. So maybe he wanted to save himself with that. Anyway, Shomer R Gamliel understood it. Azal Tasha Minayo, he went and he hid from the Romans. Azal Lagabe Betzina, and this Roman general went to him in the where he was hiding. Amalei said him, if I save you, you're going to bring me into the next world. Amalei Hen says, yes, you're going to get on Habas. Amalei, Ishtabali, swear to me. Ishtabali, so he swore to him, Salak Ligra, Nafalumis. He went up to the roof, he fell down and he died. Right? Now it's an interesting Lashon because it sounds like he fell. He didn't fall, he jumped. Right? He was suicide. But the terminology is interesting. Ukamiri, and we know the we know that by the Romans they had a craziness that if they made a gezerah and one of their officers died, then they were mavatal the gezerah because they took it as a bad omen that the gezerah that they made is no good. Otherwise, one of the officers, why would he die? So Yotzis Abasko va'amra. So this guy died. So Mamela they were mavatal the gezerah of Gamliel. So Yotzis Abasko va'amra adoin zem mezumin l'chayel l'mavah. Abasko went out and said he's mezumin l'chayel l'mavah. Fine. So Torah Rabbanim. When the beis was destroyed in the first beis of hamikdash, right? This is one of the saddest stories of the churban. So groups of the pirchei kahuna, the young kohanim, and they had the keys to the hegel in their hands. And they went up to the roof of the beis of hamikdash. Since we obviously were not Zaychet to be good gizbar is the watchman. Obviously we didn't do a good enough job. So we're gonna give the keys back to Hashem. They took the keys to the beis hamikdash and they threw them up in the air. And the palm of a hand, something similar to the palm of a hand, came out of Shemayim, but Kibalta, and it was Makabel Mehem, Behem Kofzu, and they jumped, V'naflu l'soichar, and they fell into the fire. Again, the same thing. Here it says Kofzu, and then Naflu. They fell into the fire. Balei and Kani Yeshayahu Anovi, and that is the kinna that Yeshayahu said on them. Maso Gei Chizayin Malach Eifot Yalisa Kulach L'Gagos. He says, what happened to the, where'd you go? You all went up to the roof. And that's obviously referring to them going up to the roof and committing suicide. Chuas Malaya here, it was a city that was full of chuas, of things going on. Haimia Kirya Aliza, it was a city that was Chuas Malaya here, Haimia. Right, it was a city full of action. Kriya Aliza, it was Kirya Aliza, was a city that was happiness. And the people that died didn't die in the Milchama, and they weren't killed by sword either. Meaning because they felt in the fire. So and he's crying with the talking about that the Hartzion is empty, right? Right, Hartzion Sheshomeim. That's the way Rashi says it. So therefore, that's the kinna that the Yeshayahu was saying. That's referring to them, to these kohanim. Now, were they allowed to do suicide? That's a question, right? So that's already a different. That's already a different thing. Okay, let's do it.
Are you talking about the Pirkei Kahuna?
What?
Are you talking about the Pirkei Kahuna?
Yes.
Well, either that or they were going to be sold into slavery or killed by the Romans.
Right. So the assumption is they knew they were going to be killed, but right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fine. So let's just see a few more lines and then.
Wait, if they would have been sold into slavery, didn't Esther Paskin on that already? Achrishi.
Yeah, okay, this is all part of the sugya, whether they were allowed to do it. Yeah. So when Av comes in with a mayat b'simcha, Amar Rav Yehuda Breider Rav Shmuel Bashelis of Shmei the Rav, Geshem shemisha nichnas av ma'adim b'simcha, kach misha nichnas adam marbin b'simcha. When Av comes in, you're mamayit b'simcha, which obviously the diak is. It doesn't mean you're not b'simcha. You still have to always has to be b'simcha. You just have less simcha, right? But when Adar comes in, you add more simcha. What does this mean? Amar Papa on Amud beis now. Hilkoch hai bar Yisrael the isle dina b'hadi nachri. If you have a din with a guy, l'shtamin minei ba'av, you should stay away from Av. Don't have the court case in Av. The Riyah Mazda, it's a bad luck. Again, the same thing. It's considered a bad luck time. The limtzi nafshi ba'adar, but you should make yourself found in Adar. Don't avoid it, because in Adar it's a good time. The bari mazid, it's a healthy. The mazel is healthy then, right? So that is the halacha. If you have a court case, you should try and push it off, not at Av. Now the question is, the whole Av or just till Yudav or maybe till Tubav? That's already there's different versions of the poskim. Yeah. So there's a shaila that some of the contemporary poskim ask if you have to go for a food stamps appointment, should you go in Av? Because they're deciding how much money you're going to get, or Section 8 or government funding. Oh, yeah. So is that considered a court case with the goyim or not? These are the shailas. Anyways, fine. Got two more little gemaras here. Losses lechem achris v'tikva. So then the pasuk says that to give a achris and a tikva, that there should be hope, right? Which is to the Galus Bavel. Some of you the bread Rashmu Vashelis Mishmei Rav Elu the kolim who klei pishton. This is referring to date trees and klei pishton, which are considered chashuv, right? Meaning, these things are more. They last a long time. So therefore, it's showing the people that went to Galus Bavel that you know what, it's not gonna. These things will last. The Klal Yisrael will last. Then it says, "Vayomer ra reach reach benik reach sada shebercha Hashem." The smell is like the smell of the field that Hashem benched. Some Rav Yehuda Berei Rav Shmuel Bashelis the Rav Kereach sada shel tapuchim. It's like the reach of a field of tapuchim, of apples, which the Tosfos says it's a reach of esroigim, not tapuchim, not apples, which some say tapuchim means esrog, right? Which could theoretically have some halachic ramifications. Yeah, okay, so we'll stop here, and then tomorrow we'll just do that, and then we'll finish it off Monday, Be'ezus Hashem. All right. A good vach and a good yah.
Is this the second chazal about Yaakov Avinu and Galus? Not about the case, but this is Yaakov Avinu, this pasuk. Is when Yaakov Avinu walked in, he said he smelled like the field. I give him a bracha. It's by Yitzchak and Yaakov, no?
Yeah, so what are you saying?
Saying it's like it's similar to the Birchas Yaakov. Why by the brachas do you find this? When the Shvatim came to Yaakov next week's parsha, and he said, what's it called? Aguda. What's it called? He told them to gather around. His next week's parsha.
Right.
It's also about the Galus.
That's it. So what are you saying?
Yaakov Avinu had something about the Galus here. I don't know if there's a connection, but it's interesting.
I hear.
Brachas with Yaakov. We put the two things together. Yaakov Avinu and Brachas. There's something about Galus.
Interesting. I hear. Yeah, but you're saying that's okay. I got it. Mama, gotta log off because I gotta. Elio, you on good? Yeah.
Yes, I missed a few minutes, but I was on. You're one of your Talmidim moved here.
Yes, I heard.
Can you send me? Do you have his number?
I do. Yeah, I'll send it.